Hi, hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about the cognitive ecosystem from prevention to regeneration. So we are going to talk about how to protect our brain and body. Our brain helps us keep healthy, remember, make decisions, control emotions, play sports, and build our future. Some chemicals may harm the brain, especially petrol, corrosion-free glue, spray paints, and other strong-smelling products. But the good news is the brand can also be protected and supported. So today's message will be very simple. Avoid toxic chemicals, seek help earlier, and rebuild health through safe environment, trusted support, and healthy food. So let's look into the use brand ecosystem. On one side is the toxic inputs like solvents, inhalants, and substance misuse. This can harm the brain, heart, lung, and kidneys, and also nerves. So they can affect the learning, memory, mood, and behavior. On the other side is the protective inputs. For example, safe environments, trust, communication, and healthy eating. The true health is not just avoiding harm. It also means actively supporting and rebuilding the brain every day. Let us talk about some of the impacts on the brain. For example, we use benzene here. So there can be many harmful chemicals in our toxic exposure. For example, like benzene. Those chemicals can affect different parts of the brain. The frontal lobe mostly help us to plan, focus, control our impulse, and make good decisions. If it is affected, a person may have trouble concentration and also may act without thinking. The temporal lobe is important for our memory and emotion. If it's affected, learning, memory, and motivation may become worse. The parietal lobe helps with space, coordination, and if it's affected, a person may feel confused or disoriented. So, what happens to the petrol inhalation? Petrol can be dangerous not only because of the smells, fumes, it's also dangerous because the liquid petrol can enter the lung. That is called aspiration. If petrol gets into the lungs, it can cause severe inflammation or chemical pneumonitis. This can lead to low oxygen, breathing failure, and in severe cases, death. Correction fluid can also contain volatile organic chemicals. Inhaling these chemicals can irritate the lungs and affect the brain and the body. If someone allows petrol or a chemical, do not make them vomit. Vomiting can pour the chemical into the lungs and make the injury worse. So the key message here is that petrol and chemical fluids are not safe to inhale, smell, or swallow. What would be the early warning signs? How can we notice if someone may be affected by the inhalants or some of the substance? The physical signs may include a chemical smell in its breath and on the clothes, and there could be sores or pain marks around nose and mouth, and there may be unusual weight loss or poor appetite. At the same time, there could be behavioral and psychological signs like a sudden change in the activities or in the friendships, drastic mood swings or irritability, decline in school performance or attendance might also be a sign. So if there is an emergency concern, or to notice. The important thing, as we mentioned previously, do not induce movement. It will increase the risk of fatal chemical pneumonitis, a kind of specific pneumonia. And the immediate actions, first, move the patient to the fresh air, give nutrients, call emergency, keep the airway clear if the person is unconscious. The first line of defense starts from a secure school and household chemical management. There are three pillars. First is the audit and removal. Identify the responsibility and remove outdated unknown chemicals. Second, policy and education, like what we are bringing us on the awareness session now to update safety policies, integrate chemical safety into the curriculum. So, find sustainable alternative. Switch to safer water-based products like a Safer Choice certified. So, let's come to the second line of defense about a trust-based communication. So, this trust-based loop comes from a frequent chats to build up the rapport, to build up the trust. Also set up clear boundary and to bring facts on the table. State the disapproval, underage use, share the medical facts as we do today, and active listening and empathy. Understand the feelings of others and be honest about your past if asked. Thus, talk about professional support. The please to seek professional help if the kids or anyone is struggling for this chemical. The reason why we mention so much is because there is a physiological tool for substance abuse. There could be nutrient depletion and organ damage, like alcohol. It could affect liver, it could affect metabolics. It decreases vitamin B and the risk of a very specific brain injury called Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. At the same time, the dietary repair comes with the high protein B complex supplements and the stimulants and opioid. They may affect central nervous system. They will also affect gastrointestinal functions, leading to electrolyte imbalance. So a high fiber diet, whole grains, and hydration will be important here. And for the marijuana, there could be a change in the appetite, and there might be more intake of high fat, sugary, empty calories. So for the time being, the policy and the strategy will be to control total calories, strive to low fat, high fiber whole foods. So how do we rebuild with the regular eating? There are several things. First, distinguish hunger from cravings. Second, stabilize your blood sugar and mood. Lastly, to repair elements, hydrate, vitamin B complex, zinc, and other vitamins are important to rebuild immune and organ functions. How could the diet help? As we see from a 20-year follow-up in cardiac study, high fiber produce intake in young adulthood leads to a better cognitive performance in midlife. If we follow the dietary pattern, which is high in fried foods, red meat, and processed fast food, then there could be an accelerated cognitive decline. And if we focus on the fibers and nutrients and whole produce, then there could be a better memory and cognition for the midlife and afterwards. So this is important to protect the brain with a better diet. So what could be the superfood? Actually, the superfood is around us, like coconut, which has a healthy fat, support the brain energy and clarity. There are also pineapples, which is rich in antioxidants. It can increase the cognitive function. We could also find some orange with the citrus juice. They are rich in vitamin B, vitamin C, and all the other vitamin B called flavonoids. So it could boost blood flow and alertness. In summary, it is important to have a holistic brain protection ecosystem with a environmental control and the safety on toxicant and build up the first aid. At the same time, we focus on the psychology and connection with trusted communication and professional support. Also with the physiology and nutrition, that with the fiber, green vegetables, that could help us repair the brain function to achieve an optimal cognition and resilience. So the last sentence I want you to know is the brain's regenerative power is strong. By combining the non-toxic environment, trusted communication, and targeted nutrition, we could reverse the harm and protect the next generation and all of us. So thank you so much, and I look forward to your questions.